Hi everybody, I am Lady Stars on Fire, and my real name is Michelle Espinosa. This is the weekly healing messages for December 26th through January 2nd. I'm starting them a little late, because of the holiday. So Merry Christmas to everybody, and Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year, because I won't most likely have another video out until after the New Year. But with that being said, if you normally haven't ever watched the videos before, I typically give you, the rune cast for the week, what Spirit is giving me from the runes, as well as whatever guidance Spirit is giving me. And then I give you a little bit of the universal astrology to help us move forward in the most positive and healing ways within our life. This week, Spirit pretty much is giving me like animal guidance for the week. I am getting the great white stag, which it really goes with this time of year. And in general, it typically really does go with this time of year. But I think it's outside of this time of year. I'm being given its energy to help us move forward in a positive way. So if you look towards stag medicine, as a spirit guide, then it should be helpful for you. But I'm also being given a moose. But I am being given a moose, and I'm sorry, Spirit, but really I don't know what that is. Okay, I'm going to go on. If they figure out how to make that make sense to me, then I will explain that to you. That's why I'm not telling you what it is, because I don't know. But, I am being given the moose also this week, and I am being given it as well as like a great white moose. So that guidance may be helpful for you, and you may want to look it up and see if that is anything for you. Now, for the rune cast for this week, which is I'm considering the 26th through the 2nd of January. Excuse me, Neptune. Can you're kind of like standing on my paperwork is Fei Wu, Radio, and La Goose. And let me pull up my book because I just felt the need to bring the book up this week as I was going through it. Fei Wu speaks to us of fire, earth. It's a feminine energy. It's cattle, wealth. It is the elder tree. Fei Wu is very hard to understand. This is one reason why I pulled the book out. It is gifts that must be worked for and received with graciousness, but also with humility. It speaks to us of, excuse me, Neptune. It speaks to us of the chain of energy and recycling of that energy. But it is a positive influence. Let me help you understand the best way that it's been put to me. And you're just playing with with the way that it's been put to me to help people understand what Fei Wu is. Money is not power. Money actually has no real part of the spiritual energy, okay? Because it can bring prosperity. Yes, the money can. However, understanding Fei Wu speaks to us of knowledge. Knowledge then gives us the ability to change and redirect and focus our energies and our life in a way to bring power within our life. And then within power, you eventually can move it from that knowledge into power and then into a circulation that will help bring you more money. So it's not necessarily about money. A lot of people will say Fei Wu is all about money, but it's not. It's prompting of self-esteem and staying centered. It brings karmic fulfillment. It is protection of achievements and good fortune, wealth and luck. It speaks to us of relationships and the need of looking truthfully deeper at what those relationships are and what they are, but what they're bringing to the table for you in your life as well. It speaks to us of honesty. Fei Wu has such a deep emphasis that's far beyond just the idea of creating money or power in general. It is knowledge, and with knowledge, you can create anything and redirect it and put it in a different direction. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my book back from Neptune. Okay, with that being said, the next one is radio. Radio speaks to us of the ride, the riding. It is Thor's chariot. It is the world of rhythm, rhyme, and the dance of life. It focuses on matters of order and of justice and change through preparation. Seriously, you can't have it, son. It is structure of outward control are all about its issues. Indicates the journey over land or of a vehicle, such as a car. The presence of people involved with law or skilled ritual artwork or ritual ceremonies, as well as magical rites within them. It is the ritual of magic, rhythm, and dance. It is controlled movement, the dance of life. Ow, claw, because you're getting excited, Mr. Neptune. It is the ruin craft of outer self-order and measured change. There's your key. It is the ruin craft of outer self-order and measured change. Growth through planning and through proper preparation. This comes with Fei Wu. Ow, claws, Neptune. She just wants this piece of of this. He sees it as a toy. It is the growth through preparation, which has to do with the knowledge you're receiving from Fei Wu. Okay? It is the wise counsel, justice, and just rewards with legal matters being returned to you. Personal control and responsibilities journey over land. Is there anything else here I missed? The channeling of energy according to the natural law. But I am being told by Spirit, for some people, radio is in reverse. And that would be irrational thinking for some people right now. They have irrational thinking. They are making bad or unwise counsel decisions, or receiving bad or unwise counsel. Solutions applied without proper thought. It's speaking to you of the need for movement or regular exercise is what I am being triggered by from Spirit in general for some people. So make sure that, you're making wise decisions. You're thinking this through. You're not just jumping the gun. And then we have Lagoose. Lagoose is speaking to us. And this is because it's a perfect time for what is going on. With all the planets, the new beginning of the new year. I'm going to get into all of that with you in just a minute with the astrology. This makes so much sense about making sure you're setting that proper foundations, a new platform as we move forward. And are we being, are we using our intelligence wisely as we do this? Lagoose speaks to us of lake, sea, the lake and life force. Waters, the world of river and oceans, but it focuses on issues of emotion, creativity, and spirituality. It is the healing power of renewal. Its imagination and psychic patterns are involved. Journey over water can be indicated, or a journey into your deep depths of your feelings, of your emotional self. And Spirit is saying that it does have to do with your emotional self and your sensitivities right now, and stepping out of your uncomfortable, stepping past your uncomfortable, because you have to take the chances to continue to challenge yourself as you move forward. And it's not about being comfortable. It's about moving forward and rising above what you've known. Again, Lagoose speaks to us can show magical power at work, indicating a presence of someone who is working with their work of a magical level, looking for emotional people who seem to just get their way easily. It is our water life force. It is emotional. It is emotions. It is the feeling body in general. It is intuitive. It is unconscious depths of self. It is our sea voyage within ourselves. It is the rite of passage through death, which also goes with that white stag and the moose right now. It is growth, creativity, learning how to step into your vital power of the spirit. It is the layers of the existence of yourself that is unknown. It is energy manifesting from the unknown, and it speaks to us of psychic powers and our responsivenesses, but it also is about release, surrender, and let go so that you can move forward. Now, as I get into this week, I'm going to go a little bit past this week. At the end of the week, Mars is moving out of Pisces and into Aries. So it's finally coming out of its uncomfortable spot and it's getting into one of its sister families, more or less, sister signs, because it's going into a fire sign, Aries, a beginning point. Mars is ready to take its steam from sitting in the water sign of Pisces and just rekindle its fire and start all new with a brand new creation as it starts to move forward, because it's a brand new cycle for it. So this is a very powerful time. And it's going to be coming closer to Uranus. And don't forget, Uranus goes direct on the 6th of January. So Uranus is our independence, our individuality, our uniqueness, our freedom. And it's been in retrograde. And I've been talking about this for years. It's going to come out of retrograde and it's going to move direct, and it's still going to be in Aries for a while, for I think another month or two, and then it will actually move into Taurus. But this is a very powerful time right now. So it's also only got a week left to make sure any messages that you were picking up over the last 10 years of independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, because that's where it's heading. Okay? In Taurus, any of that you didn't get when it was in Taurus and then it jumped back into Aries, it's in retrograde now. So any of that you've been fighting yourself on, like I said, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, within your independence, individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom, how can you start something new, bringing this fire of yourself up and out of you and starting to bring that into a whole new level of experiencing your own soul fire and taking it in a positive way. Any of this that it's been trying to tell you for the last however long and you haven't been getting it through your thick head, this is the last week for it to smack you down and go, hey, did you get the freaking memo now? Okay? So it's that last little bit of time to make sure that anything that didn't get juggled in your head quite right is getting juggled and getting to the head, so that you understand what from here to here will help make you self-worth. Help make your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom stand full and in its fire of who and what you are, so that you can actually have created that first step, which is Aries, and start the cycle new. This is a very powerful time, and you have Mars coming in at the end of the week, entering that energy. Now, with that also being said, I'm going to jump into the body for a second, because Uranus in the body speaks to us of our nervous system. It speaks to us of our bronchial tubes. It speaks to us of our breathing and our lungs. It also is the asthma energy. It is in the head. In Aries, it speaks to you of your head, your face, your brain, and your eyes. In Taurus, well, we're not at that point yet. So, if you're having those problems with breathing, now I do know it's flu season, but if it's been trying to unclog some of those chakras, it may be messing with your head. It may be messing with your eyes. It may be messing with your bronchial tubes and your breathing in general. So that may have something to do not just with flu season, but it may have to do with unclogging or unblocking some of those blocks. Now, as I get into the rest of the week in astrology, don't get me wrong, I know everybody wants to know about New Year's Eve, but I'm going to give you these first, and then I'll get into that. Because I'm going to give you the chain reactions, the positives, and everything in just a moment. But on the 26th, there is a grand trine. Uranus in Aries, which still is retrograde, is speaking to the sun and Capricorn, which Capricorn is going to become loaded here in any time, because I think it's Venus is getting ready to move in, I think next week as well. So you have Uranus in retrograde in Aries, the sun in Capricorn, and the moon, which is in Leo on the 26th. This is the day after Christmas. This is a grand trine. It is bringing positive energy about your independence, about standing up for who and what you are, coming out with your creativity, helping show your freedom and your individuality. The sun is shining on it, helping to illuminate you outwardly into the community. And the moon is helping to bring forth the sensitivity and the creativity you need. So this is a positive time to, create something new, to start to bring something to light, more or less, and bring it into, a possibility as you move forward the day after Christmas. Now, on the 27th, though, you have a T-square. That's the 2 days after Christmas. Neptune, which is in the 12th house, which still is in shadow, okay, is speaking very uncomfortably with Mercury and with Mercury and with Jupiter, which is in Sagittarius. I don't know how many times I can say this. Sagittarius is, for all intents and purposes, with Jupiter there, speaking to your higher self and your communication of that higher self and what it is you need, or what it is you've been lacking, because Jupiter has 1 year in the sign, and it always starts with what you've been lacking in, because it has to bring it full circle. Okay, so your higher self with Jupiter is bringing abundance and knowledge about your higher self, where you've been slacking in the ability of coming out with who and what you are of your higher self, where you're slacking and connecting with that higher self and bringing that communication to the outer world. Okay, it's speaking with Neptune, which is in shadow, so it's speaking directly with nostalgia of what didn't necessarily work. Okay, what's not worked in the past, what's been stale in the past, and it's trying to make you get a little confused about the magic you're creating. It's not like that. You don't want to be paying attention to the stale energy of the past. There's a lesson there. There's a lesson there of what didn't work so that you know how to change it. Okay? Because it's speaking with the moon in Virgo, which is detail oriented. Pay attention to how you feel on the 27th, because Neptune is going to be messing with you in some form because it's still in shadow, okay? This is how you create proper healthy magic, by learning where it's been unhealthy in the past. And Jupiter, your higher self, and Mercury is speaking to that communication in an uncomfortable way, because most likely it's something you don't want to know, something you're not comfortable with or admitting to yourself, but it's something that has to be changed in order to move forward. Now, on the 30th, you have 2 double T-squares, but they're overlapping grand trine that's going to be lasting from January 29th all the way until, December 29th all the way until January 10th. Let me explain these T-squares. Let me explain this grand trine. Grand trine from December 29th all the way until January 10th. This is a positive energy that's going to be sticking around for all of this time. Chiron and Mars. Even though Mars is moving out, it's still going to be picking up this energy. Trust me, I already looked it all up. Chiron and Mars. Chiron is in Pisces. Mars is going to be moving into Aries. But Chiron is the wounded healer. It is the gatekeeper of wholeness. It is in that 12th house where the healing still needs to be made. So it's speaking to you about what you have to overcome, what you have to work through in order to move forward. Neptune is still there, and it is getting in here and into the gut. Okay, so there's your intuitions basically speaking to you. Mars is starting to move into universal first house of Aries, so it's picking up fire. It's picking up fire to pick up that passion and that aggression. Listen to Chiron's wounded healer and the gatekeeper of wholeness as into what it needs to do as it tries to move forward. It is speaking directly across the skies, not directly, but as far as the trine goes, it is speaking to both Ceres and Venus in Scorpio. Got a little tongue-tied there. Ceres is the threefold theory. It is karma. it is a little too close to home feelings, more or less. It also speaks to us of what has been nurtured or what hasn't been nurtured, or have you learned to change where things haven't been nurtured and break that terrible cycle and move forward and start nurturing it properly. Venus is going to be talking to the sensitivities in this, and this is taking place in that universal 8th house of relationships and what they're responsible for. Okay, and then that is also speaking to the North Node. So this is speaking to the North Node, which is now in Cancer, which speaks to us of our home, but it also speaks to us of our karmic energy and the home that can't be taken away because it's you. It's your soulfulness, as well as your past life's karmic energies. Okay, so this has everything to do with, for one, for some of us, it is past lives that we're learning to change and evolve and move forward in a new way because Chiron the Wounded Healer is pushing it on us and asking Mars, your warrior, your inner SWAT team, to defend, but to do it in a smart way because it's speaking to Venus. So it's going to touch on those sensitive spots that are comfortable that you love and that are uncomfortable. Because, like I said, it's with Saurus, which is too close to home. Karmic energy. It is what is nurturing or hasn't been nurtured properly. That is what Sarah says. With Venus is speaking to the sensitivities. This is all about overcoming something within your karmic self, your karmic soul self, and the home of who and what you are. Not just the home of the life you live in now. But it does deal with that. But it speaks to the roots of what created you to be, who and what you are. These are positive trines that are coming together all of this time, again, from December 29th until January 10th. Now, like I said, on the 30th, you do have a double T square sitting on top of that trine. Okay, and this is going to be an uncomfortable day, I'm warning you, because you have Uranus, which is in retrograde still, in Aries, speaking directly in this T square, in this T square to Pallas, which is Athena, the warrior goddess, the goddess of strategic thinking, and she's in Libra with the moon. Okay, the moon is all about your depths and your intuition, and in Libra it's your universal 7th house of relationships, as well as all Libra ever wants to do is find a way to create harmony and balance, but it always has to find where the harmony and balance is not up to par, so to speak. So your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom is fighting that strategic thinking within the relationships. And that moon energy, your intuition, is fighting yourself, of how to find that harmony and that balance, because it's taking you right back to the North Node and the North Node again, which is in Cancer, which is all about home. But home here, not just this home life that we know, but it does deal with that, but it deals with the roots of who and what made us, who and what we are. So it's having a little disagreement with that. But then you have your second T square, which is also Pallas, the moon, in Libra, and it's also the North Node in Cancer. But what this one's talking to is Pluto. Death, decay, instruction for rebirth, renewal, and regeneration. You need to renew. You need to start to move forward, which means something has to die. Something has to change. You have to release, surrender, and let go of something that you're not comfortable with, because it's going to be difficult. Something that you've probably have gotten very comfortable with holding on to, but it doesn't really serve you anymore. And like I said, it's going to deal with relationships, with the strategic thinking of how to make them work better for you versus fighting your own independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom. Sometimes, in order to move forward, you have to have faith that letting go of one thing will bring something new forward. And that is what you're going to need to remember on the 30th. Now, yes, I'm getting to New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve should be a very positive energy, actually. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of funkiness in there. On New Year's Eve, the moon is Hold on one second. The moon is in Scorpio. I knew I hid it from myself somewhere. The moon is going to be in Scorpio. Okay, first off, this can be a good or a bad thing. It depends on where you take your soulfulness. Depends on where you take your thinking. If you're in sabotage thinking, then you're going to screw your whole New Year's up. I'm telling you right now. If the moon is in Scorpio, get out of sabotage thinking. Because the moon in Scorpio is over intense of its independence, not independence, of its intuitive thinking, of its emotional depths. It is like a game of Clue. Okay, it's all mysterious, it's curious, and it's I call Scorpio a sexy Sherlock Holmes, more or less. It's a clue. It wants to know everything. It's the detective that wants to understand and know everything. But when you put your moon there, your emotional depths, you can make yourself insanely jealous. You can make yourself insanely crazy thinking things to yourself. As long as you are not in self-sabotage and you stay in a comfortable, loving, sensitive way, then it's gonna be a great New Year's. But if you're in self-sabotage, you're gonna have to learn to shut the fuck up and stop talking to yourself that way, because you're gonna make yourself crazy. I'm warning you now. Okay, with that being said, the moon will be trining Neptune, which is in shadow, but this is a positive energy. It can be getting into nostalgia, making you realize things that you did enjoy in the past and helping you to create something new. But you want to remember, it's creating new. Don't go backwards in time. Don't start something all over again that didn't work, because Neptune is still in shadow. It's all about creating positive, healthy, new magic, not being delusional and seeing through Neptune's little mirrors that can be a little bit confusing, so to speak. Now, the moon is also sextiling the sun, which is bringing illumination to it. It is sextiling the sun, but it's also sextiling Saturn and Capricorn. This gives you the energy for illuminating yourself, your sensitivity, bringing shine to your emotional self and the relationships that you are part of, and putting new rules, walls, and boundaries in proper new places. So it is a good place to start something new. Just make sure that what yours might be starting on New Year's is something you want, so that you don't have Neptune come back and tell you where you screwed up. Okay? Because like I said, rules, walls, and boundaries deals with Saturn, but the sun is sitting right on top of it, which brings illumination of what you could create if you just have the passion and the ability to take the chance and go for it. Now, it does square Lilith and Vista, which is, nobody's going to make me do a goddamn thing I don't want to do, in Aquarius. Okay? Lilith is the feminine of feminines. Nobody is going to make me do a damn thing I don't want to do. Right there with Vista in that energy, bringing your soul fire to that, and Aquarius's rebel within, more or less. So just remember, you're illuminating yourself. You're finding new rules, walls, and boundaries. But are you being egotistical about it? Are you seeing it truthfully? Are you really listening to your intuition? Just make sure that the positive energies of these are not outweighing the egotistical. And you're losing sight by the egotistical, keeping you from being able to move forward in a positive new way, basically, as you start the new year. Now, we do have chain reactions this week, and Uranus, again, in Aries, is trining Mercury. So all week, and I feel like communication is very important this week. So you may really want to watch your word vomit, and you want to make sure that you are taking the time to speak what you really want to be heard. Okay? Uranus, your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom in retrograde. The last week of retrograde is really telling you where you're missing out in that independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom. And it's speaking to Mercury in Sagittarius, right next to Jupiter, your higher self. So it's helping you bring the opportunities out of you that can create something new. However, Uranus is squaring the North Node. So there's something about the karmic side of you that's fighting you. There's something about that karmic side that's fighting you. Something about the home and roots of who and what you are is fighting, bringing out that independence, that individuality, that uniqueness, that freedom. And it itself is also fighting Pluto, which means you're supposed to bring it out. Okay? You're supposed to bring it out. You're supposed to make a change. I say all the time, we are not meant to stay in the same stagnant place. We are meant to move forward, change, and illuminate. You cannot do that if you just stay in your comfortable zone. Point blank. It is about change. So something is renewing. Something is rebirthing within you. And it's meant to happen. But it's meant to happen in a way that starts a new cycle, not the same cycle. Now, the North Node also is speaking to Chiron and Mars, which at this time will still be in Pisces. So it is speaking to something about the wounded healer, the gatekeeper of wholeness, that you haven't been getting quite right. And it's what's been keeping you from being able to start the new cycle. Listen to your soul. Listen to your heart and your intuition, and it'll take you in the right direction. Now, you also have Lilith in Aquarius with Vesta there, which is sextiling Jupiter and Mercury. That's a good sign. I mean, that means that Lilith is great balls of fire energy. Nobody's going to make me do anything I don't want to do, and I'm going to take the chance and I'm going to go for it, is speaking with the higher self in a positive way. It's giving you the opportunity to actually go there. So it is a positive thing. And it is sextiling Pallas, which is in Libra. Come the end of the week, it is. So right when we come into New Year's, okay? It's speaking to how you can use that strategic thinking to bring that into relationships to help those relationships in your life move forward. And I don't know how many times I can say relationships are not just your spouse and your loved one. It is your family, it is your friends, it is your loved ones, it is your work environment. Sometimes your relationship is with money or with a car. If you have no money, you know about your relationship with no money. If you have no car, you know about your relationship with no car. Anything you care about, you have a relationship with. So understand, this is about, starting to boldly move forward in anything that you care about. That's a positive thing for us. Point blank. But, don't forget, though, that you do have Neptune squaring Jupiter and Sagittarius. That is your thing right there. Jupiter is squaring Neptune. And that means the abundance can be created incorrectly to start a brand new cycle all over again because you learned a no lesson. Because, like I said, Neptune is in shadow, in that universal 12th house. It hasn't finished healing yet. Point blank. Make sure that you're not recreating. And then bring that sun illumination into something all over again and start the whole thing again. Because Neptune is sextiling the sun. It's giving you every opportunity to start something new, to start the new rules, to start the new boundaries, new walls, rules, and boundaries, and illuminate yourself like so. But it all comes down to, my love, is the cycle starting again? Or are you finally starting to spiral out and start a new cycle? Have you learned anything? I love you. Bye, everybody. See you next week after New Year's. I can't turn it off.